As this is the organizational meeting, it's my privilege to call the January 9th, 2025 Board of Supervisors meeting to order. First on the agenda is the invocation by Pastor Corey Kiss.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening. Desire, would you please pray with me? Loving and almighty God, it is by your grace and mercy that we were able to close the pages of our calendars on yet another year. And we are grateful because this new year represents new opportunities, second chances, starting fresh again. We are also hopeful that in your grace things do work out, bodies do heal, relationships do mend, and life goes on with all of its mystery and splendor. As this meeting gets underway now, O Lord, I pray for your guidance and wisdom to be present in this place. Be with the members of this board as they work towards the common good of our home. Grant them wisdom and clarity of mind and purpose so that they can make informed and thoughtful decisions for the betterment of our community. May they be able to put aside any personal interest and in unity among themselves and in cooperation with the community they serve. May their decisions be made in a way that will be most beneficial for all of us. And as neighbors, ones who are sharing the joy of living in the Northern Neck, may we seek peace and harmony for our homes as we labor to make this place even more beautiful, pleasant, and welcoming. And Father God, in a few moments we will speak of one nation under God, and so we pray for our servicemen and women who are willing to put their lives on the line for our nation so that freedom and peace may be ensured. May we realize the depth and the width of your incredible love for each and every one of us, that you have shown to us in the life and death and the resurrection of your Son, Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Everyone, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the next item we have is the election of chairman of the Board of Supervisors for calendar year 2025. I will open the floor for any nominations.
Make a motion, we stay with Richard.
I'll second that.
Second.
All right, have nominations. No other. We'll go ahead and close the nominations. Have a motion to elect Mr. Haney as chair for the 2025. A motion. Have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I abstain.
Abstain. All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you all gentlemen for putting confidence and faith back in me again. I really do appreciate that. All right. Now we have election of vice chairman of the Board of Supervisors. Do I have any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Mr. Jimmy Brand, Vice Chairman, Northumberland County Board of Supervisors.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Brand, welcome. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking it. All right. Next would be the approval of the adoption of the bylaws. Tad, like we have any changes to the bylaws this year?
There are no changes. There are no changes to the bylaws this year.
All right. Anyone have any questions on it before I ask for a motion? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the bylaws.
All right. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Schedule with Board of Supervisors meeting dates. Hope everyone's had a chance to review the dates. Any conflicts, anything that you know of right now? We're still meeting on the second Thursday of the month. If not, can we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve as is.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh.
just real quick, that is at 5:30 PM. just for
Yes, I'm
clarification.
sorry, it is at 5:30 PM. Sorry. So, you wanted to amend your
I
motion?
meant that as is. I
All
meant
right.
that to include the
All right. Okay with you? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, next we have is the 2025 holiday for county offices. Any changes, deletions, additions to that?
I brought this up before, and I see you got a half a day on Christmas Eve. I just rather for the county to be closed on Christmas Eve.
All
It's
right.
going, it'd be a small crew here trying to function, and I just think we just better off to close that day.
Probably will not accomplish anything.
You're right.
So,
I just,
I do agree with you on that, Mr. Brand. We're just closed for the whole day. Any other board members have any comments on that? Is it all right with everybody? All right, Mr. Brand. Anything else, gentlemen? All right, if not, can I have a motion to approve that with the change?
Motion to approve with the amendment.
All right. Do I have a second?
second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, next we have is the remote participation policy. Mr. Tadlock, we have any changes to that?
That one does have quite a few changes to that document.
Okay.
And if I can ask you to maybe summarize some of those.
Sure, Mr. Tadlock. There have been, as you may know or may be aware, there were a number of changes to the public meeting law under the Freedom of Information Act, most of which developed during the COVID period as the law was adapted to those circumstances. And then later, when it was shown by that example or by that experience that that remote participation was a proven in concept and that it could work for public bodies with certain rules applied, there were further amendments made to FOIA by the General Assembly to provide greater flexibility or greater ability for public bodies like local boards of supervisors and town councils and city councils to meet by remote telecommunications means under certain circumstances. If there are limitations that are included in your policy, FOIA requires that public bodies like this board adopt a policy to govern the remote participation in public meetings prior to actually doing it that way. So this policy meets that requirement. And so once you adopt this policy, you'll be able to allow for the participation by certain members of your body remotely under certain circumstances. They have to request that ahead of time. They have to state a reason. There are limited reasons that can justify remote participation. There still has to be a physical quorum of the body present in this location or in your meeting location, and they have to. The chairman or some other member, chairman typically has to receive the request, preliminarily allow for the participation, but then get the approval of the public body to allow that member to participate remotely. Then it is approved, and then that person can participate as long as their voice or their image and their voice can be heard by the public. Okay, so that's another requirement. So there's all sorts of requirements that are in the policy that comply with FOIA that will allow you to do that if circumstances warranted. So that's basically what the policy allows for in a nutshell. Happy to answer any questions if I can, if you have any now or in the future. And then if circumstances warrant, you may need to invoke this policy in the future. We'll work with you and your staff to help with that.
All right, Mr. Gregg, you said that they would have to be able, you'd have to be able to hear them and plus see them?
Hear them and/or see them. They can, if the member is participating by phone, as long as the public can hear his or her voice, then the rule is met, then you're achieving compliance there. I said, I'm sorry if I was unclear there, but yeah, it's typically you do it by, say, Zoom or Microsoft Teams, so you have an image, but not always. You know, sometimes that's without an image, and sometimes it's by phone. So the policy allows for that.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, did I understand you correctly that you said the public body would have to approve of this?
Yes, the preliminary approval is afforded by the chairman of the body if that request is consistent with FOIA and your policy. There are limited reasons why a member of the public, or a member of the body rather, can participate by telecommunications means. They either they're sick or ill, or they're away for personal reasons, or they have a family member who is sick and ill and prevents them from traveling to the meeting, for instance. And so the chair would typically authorize that participation by remote telecommunications means, but then would request that the public body concur with that, that participation is in compliance with FOIA and in compliance with your policy. So you would basically be ratifying that approval as consistent with FOIA and your policy.
Got it.
Okay. Any other questions, gentlemen? All right. No other questions. I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda. I mean, not the agenda, but the remote participation policy.
I'll make a motion that we approve the remote participation.
All right. Do I have a second? All right. Any other discussion on it? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right. Next would be the approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions or deletions to it? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. You don't have anything else to add to it, Mr. Taylor?
I do not, no, sir.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right. All right, next thing we have the approval of the minutes. That's December the 12th, 2024. That's our regular meeting. Hope everyone's had time to review it. Any additions, deletions, or changes to it, anything? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
Motion made.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion to second. Any other discussion on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right, thank you. All right. Next, we're going to start our presentations. Before we start them, I just want to thank all of staff for everything that they have done in our past 2024 year. They've kept this board up to date with all the policies, all the changes, all the information, and they've done a very good job, so I want to thank all of them.
Second that.
I also want to thank our county attorney for attending our meetings and always wanting to stay late. No, he wants to get home as soon as possible.
He gets upset when we have a short meeting.
Yes, he does.
Keep on, he'll be good-looking real estate agents.
But no, thank you, sir. All right. Now, we're going to start on our presentations. Pam King, Treasurer. Be so kind, ma'am.
Hello,
Hello. How you doing? Happy New Year.
you too. I was asked to report on the tax collections for this year, and the change in the due date was actually very smooth. Few complaints, mainly due to farmers that were trying to pay their land rent and people not being able to pay their taxes because they hadn't received their land rent yet, but it seemed like it went okay. According to our percentages, last year, the day after, the real estate rate was 83%. This year, the day after, it was 89.88%, so we were up almost 7% this year.
Okay.
Last year, the day after, the personal property was 76.90. This year was 77.90, so percentage over. And looking back at percentages last year and this year, we're currently at 96.69% this year, and that's the exact same as last year at this time. And personal property was about 92.33% last year, and this year is 92.45, so close to the same thing.
Okay.
But once we get our collection tools going, we'll get that raised up, but
Yeah, but still, that's very good.
yeah.
And I'm glad the earlier date worked out.
Yes, it was very smooth, and we got comments from the public that they liked it better, and we got comments from the commissioner's office how smoothly it went and how they liked it better, so.
All right. Any board members have any?
Yes,
comments,
ma'am. In
questions?
regard to the complaints that you got from the farmers and so forth, I know that's going to happen right along.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite get your numbers straight just then. Did you have any more late tax payments this year than you did last year?
Well, the percentage collected was almost 7% higher this year.
So that kind of counteracts what the complaints were, my way of thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, comments? Staff have anything?
Yes, sir.
Ms. King?
Thank
you
you.
very much. All right, next is the update from Northumberland County Schools, but I know, I see we don't have anybody here tonight. They didn't send anything? Or just
She said
email?
somebody was coming.
They had emailed,
Ms. Wargo's attachment, the update is attached to her email, she said to the board.
All right. All right, well, we can all see that then. All right. Next would be Virginia Department of Transportation. Mr. Beal, good to see you, sir.
Hey, it's good to be seen.
And I see you got to try out your snow equipment.
Yeah, we tried it all out, including that plow that Northumberland painted up for us. I'm afraid all that paint's wore off, but it was pretty in the parade. We did get some regular maintenance done before the first snowstorm. We cleaned ditches on Hatches Avenue, Honest Point Road, Cowarts Road, Highland Point Road, and Lakeview Drive. We did some shoulder repairs on Lake Francis Lane. We cut some brush on Cone Church Road, Ridge Road, and Cone Stage Road. We repaired signs countywide, trimmed some trees on Shell Landing Road. As you referenced, we did respond to our first winter storm. Just for everybody's perspective, we start planning and preparing for winter storms almost a week in advance. It gets really busy about 2 days in advance when we start to brine, do the pre-treatment, and then obviously the storm hits, and then we start plowing and sanding roads, and that's usually a multi-day response. This one was complicated by the cold temperatures after the precipitation, which caused a lot of ice on the snowpack secondary routes, which has prolonged some of the time it takes to get those roads clear. We are shifting now into the next storm event. We are not going to pre-treat before Friday evening's precipitation, just because we already have enough material on the road. There's no need to pre-treat. We do have, we've ordered 3,500 tons of salt into Haynesville, well, 2,800 tons into Haynesville, and the rest of it was going up to King George. But throughout the residency, so there's just a lot of activity in Haynesville. All that salt that's coming into Haynesville is being redistributed to Northumberland and Lancaster and Westmoreland. So needless to say, you may not see, you might see the plows and contractors on the roads, but after the storm event, we're busy restocking. We'll get back to regular maintenance as soon as we can, but it'll probably be a week or so after after this next storm event is over, if there are no others, before we actually get back to regular maintenance. And I will say the forecaster with the Weather Service, when we talked to him this morning, he kind of hinted at a January 18th storm event. So probably by the time we get this next one cleaned up, we'll be looking at a third one. Hopefully that one will have more rain in it, which was what he teased with, but we'll see. But when we do get back to regular maintenance, we still have some ditches to clean. We still have a pipe to replace on Gagnon. We've been carrying that over for a few months. We're gonna probably spend a couple weeks hitting potholes hard. After we quit plowing, they're already popping up. And then we have some shoulder repairs on 360 that we're going to focus on in the next few weeks. I do have an update on the scour repair project. They are working in Northumberland now on Route 205. I'm sorry, Westmoreland on Route 205. I expect them to finish there in February and shift over to Bushmill Creek. That will be about a 12-week project, give or take what they find when they get there. That will be a complete closure with a detour. So as soon as I get a hard date, I'll coordinate with Mr. Tadlock and Ms. Wargo, so everybody's aware of the detour and can make plans for that. Well, that's everything I have for you all. If you have anything for me, I'm happy to take your comments.
Mr. Williams?
Just a general question. What is in the pre-treatment solution? What is that?
It's just salt and water.
So there's no environmental
Well, I mean,
impact?
it's about 23% salt, but it's the same stuff we spread on the roads. It gets just dissolved in water and sprayed out instead of dropped out as granular, same material. We do have calcium that we can put in it to reduce the temperature at which it'll be effective, but we haven't used that in 5 years, at least 5 years since I've been here. We haven't put any calcium in it, but we do have some on hand that we can use. It's effective down to about 15 degrees.
What you use now is?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Long? Brian?
Mr. Melanham asked me to take it easy on Mr. Beal tonight because he's been working hard.
Oh, he's been working hard.
So, no, I just want to say thank your staff. They've done a good job.
Yeah, so I owe Todd lunch now. I owe Todd lunch now.
What was that?
I said, I owe Todd lunch now.
Yeah, you do. That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you're doing.
All right, thank
You
you.
and your people. Thank you.
That solution you put out, I guess that's more effective than waiting till after you get snow on the road, isn't it?
Yeah, it really helps with situations like we have right now. If you can get the salt down on the road, then when the snow comes on, you got a little brine layer to keep it from bonding. You know, we don't brine the secondary routes, and that's why you see that ice is just stuck to the road, and we have to get the motor grader out and cut it off. And that's hard on the road, and it's slow. So usually the sun will come out and warm up to 35, 40 degrees and help us on the secondary routes, but that hasn't really happened much in the last few days.
Well, you thank everyone that's been out there working, both your crew and the private crews too, because they've done a good job.
I will. I appreciate y'all's comments.
I got one more. Why don't you guys brine the secondary roads? Is it a manpower issue? Is it a time issue? Or is it a money issue?
I would say it's not a money issue. It's probably more manpower and timing. You know, the forecast, we don't brine if it starts as rain because it would just wash it off before it could be effective. And the forecast, even 24 hours out, like with this past storm, the main word they said in the forecast was uncertainty. You know, they were calling for anywhere from 1 foot to 6 inches, and I think we ended up with maybe 8 to 4, depending on where you were. It was like 2 storms coming together, so, you know, there's just a lot of times they just don't know. So it's hard for us to make a good decision based on their indecision. So the brine is cheap. It goes a long ways. We'd have to get some more we'd have to get some more trucks, get some more tankers. We rent tankers every year to put it down. We've had some contractors that helped us. Those numbers have been reduced over the years just because people haven't signed up to help. We could do it. It would take us a little longer, but it's not a money issue.
Mr. Beal, along with that same question, we all know, people who live in the communities, we know where we have bad spots every year in our local side roads where you used to have snow fences before your day. But at any rate, along with his question, would there ever be any thought to possibly brining those hot spots, those red spots, those places where you always have to come back and extra plow time and time again? It's a danger for the community. Like I said, it's the places where you used to have the snow fences, and we all know where they're at, where we live in our local roads, next roads, so forth. Maybe that would be a consideration to at least brine those hot spots. That would be a safety issue as much as anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably doable. We've always just focused on the primary routes,
But you keep coming back time and time, especially with the dry snow like we just had, where it blows across the field. Then you bring your snow plow back in from the state, then you bring your snow plow from the contractor back in, time and time again. The roads are clear. They're riding around with their blade up, but they have to go to those hot spots and try to keep them. And a lot of times, we're down to one lane in those hot spots. Where a little bit of brine, I'm sure it would take time, but it's just a thought.
Yeah, and the brine helps us at the beginning of the storm. By the time you've plowed the road 2 or 3 times, the brine's gone. So it gives you some protection in that initial first 2 inches.
That packing, so.
All right, any other questions? Staff have any?
Thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Beal. And I guess you're expecting, what, 2 feet at the next one?
2 to 4, but this one's going to be more down here and less up there. So about 4 inches here is my guess.
Okay.
All right, y'all take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next is the county administrator's report.
First item I have is we had 8 new structures for the month of December. Total construction cost for the month was $3.5 million. Total construction cost year-to-date is $65.6 million, which is approximately $5.8 million above this time last year. Next item I have is the board had asked for some additional information from the sheriff regarding the body cameras. You have that information in your packet. Sheriff is here. I don't know if the board has any additional questions for him.
Sheriff Beecham, would you like to come up, sir?
Evening, Mr. Chairman, board members.
Evening, sir.
So if you had time to look at the quote, the updated quote, 22 cameras. And of course, that would up some of the subscription, upload, dock, service, things like that. So the total is $93,402.
And this will get every one of your deputies and yourself and all cameras.
Yes, that'll give all full-time law enforcement a camera.
Okay, everyone.
Yeah, my only part-time law enforcement's in the courts, and we're not putting them in the court.
All right, any board members have any comments or questions for Sheriff Beecham?
How soon can you get them?
I can order them tomorrow. Don't know how soon they're gonna
How you
come in.
gonna pay for them?
Yeah.
In retrospect, what, spring, early summer?
It shouldn't be any more than 60 days. These should be available. This model's been out probably a year at least. So they've got good reviews on it, and it should have quite a few on hand.
Sounds good.
I'll certainly give the board an update as we go along and get them in service.
All right, any other questions from the board? Staff have any comments or anything?
No, sir.
Well, what's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion, we move forward with the purchase of those body cameras.
Second it.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion? And that, you want to include the price in there too, Mr. Brand?
I can see it was the $93,000.
402.
402. Yep.
All right, that okay with you, Mr. Fisher?
Yes, sir.
All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Sheriff Beecham, your motion passes, sir.
All right, thank you, board, for that. Appreciate it.
All right. You don't need anything else, Mr.
Actually, if you've approved the project, if I could get a budget amendment
All right.
for the $93,402 to line item 3102-5409.
Motion made.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. 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 All those against? All right. It's tied like that passes. Anything else, sir?
Next item I have is insurance reimbursement to line item 3102-3012 in the amount of $147.40.
All right. What's
So
the pleasure
moved.
of the board? I got a motion, second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? All right.
Next item is, last month, the board had approved the project for the Life Pack 35 purchase, and that amount was $167,676.21. What I'm asking for tonight is a transfer of the EMS billing monies to 3203-5409 in the amount of $167,676.21.
All right, can I have a motion?
Motion made.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right, it's tied like that passes.
Great. Next item we have is a request to move monies from the EMS billing fund to 3203-1003 for the cost of overtime in the amount of $65,000. And that's for the emergency services.
And that is coming out the EMS building.
It's coming out of the EMS billing fund.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I've just got a question about it.
Yes, go ahead.
And that is, why isn't there enough money in the budget originally in its onset where we don't have to do this appropriation? Are we using more money in overtime than what we intend?
You're using right much money.
And if that's the case, what can we do to cut that back?
Mr. Tadlock, you want to comment, or you want to get Chief?
Sure, either
Chief,
I
comment.
or Chief, we can try to tag team it. I think there are multiple reasons there. One is the staffing is not fully staffed, so you have to rely on backfilling that with either one part-time or with full-time staff working over, which dips into your overtime cost. We are doing something different with our holiday time, so that's impacting that line item as well. I think they're the main things that are impacting.
Yeah, we have operated several months out of the fiscal year thus far below our minimum staffing. Just prior to the budget being approved and implemented in July, we had 2 people leave, which put us below minimum. And we have struggled up until the 1st of December to get back up to that minimum staffing. to be able to not have to use that overtime to fill those spots on the ambulance to make sure that we're staffed. Both part-time usage and overtime usage to do that.
Are your employees, are they content being able to work that overtime, or are they wishing they didn't have to work it?
It's a double-edged sword, kind of, because they enjoy the monetary aspect of that. But after a while, when you tell your employee that you can't go home today, I need you to work today, and I'm holding you for the first 12 of this 24, when you get to doing that multiple times throughout several months, then it weighs on the employee. And that goes back to last fiscal year when we implemented the fifth person onto the shift to reduce that mandatory holdover and to try to reduce the overtime cost. However, with the reduction in staff, we've been unable to do that. Yes, sir.
Any other questions, comments?
This will get you through the rest of the year?
Yes, sir. This is for the rest of the year. We wanted to come and ask one time to get us through the rest of the year than to have to come up multiple times asking for the funds.
All right. Any other comments, questions? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Don't have a whole lot of choice. So make a motion
No.
that we approve it.
I'll second it.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the next item I have is the transfer of funds or supplemental appropriation to 1206-3003, which is the auditing services, in the amount of $74,984. Why this is being requested, the board for the UHY forensic audit, we did a supplemental appropriation for the full amount last fiscal year. As you know, that went past the end of that fiscal year into the new fiscal year, and we had only paid a portion of that money, those monies that were appropriated. So this is the remaining amount needed to pay UHY. On that, I've been in contact with UHY. I had contacted them last week and in contact with them this week. They are, I think the final document is set. It's just a matter of getting a signature on that final document. We hope to have that either tomorrow or Monday. And I did ask them for a date. They can do it any day the week of the 20th. The 20th is a holiday, but any other day that week, they are able to do that. Now, if the board wishes to do an evening session, I think the only date that they would be available would be the 23rd, which is a Thursday. If you'd like, we could do a 5:30 time slot for that.
The 23rd is the only day they could do it in the evening? Is that what you said?
They can do, that's the only day they can do an evening session. Now, the rest of it, they could do during the day, anytime.
Do it on the 22nd. That's pretty much the only day that week. Or the Friday, the 24th.
Is this an open meeting, public meeting?
It's an open meeting.
Yeah.
Open to the public.
We need to try to have it where the public can attend. I don't know how many people make it during the day versus the evening.
Would you say you could make Williams? 23rd is the Thursday.
Good to follow.
24th is a Friday.
I can follow up with them and ask them. I had just gotten that week, and was just trying to nail down a date and time.
Don't schedule around me. If you can do it on the 23rd, I'll try to find a way to do it. I'll find a way to do it the 23rd, if everybody else can. Let's get it done.
Like having people in, having it hard on you, but
Well, what time y'all want to start?
5:30.
5:30?
So give you time
23rd?
to publicize it and all.
It's not a public hearing or anything like that, so we would just,
But how would the public know about it?
we would put it on our webpage and the Facebook page and those items.
Think that would get out to the public enough?
A lot of the public doesn't even look at webpage.
I have reservations about that being enough publicity to the general public.
Put it on radio and public get it. They get it before they read the paper.
I mean, we can, if you want, we can put an ad in the paper. I mean, it's,
We can have paper here right now. I know she'll be glad to put it in the paper.
I won't object.
All right. Free advertising. Thank you, ma'am.
stay free.
She didn't say free.
I will mention it in the story that I wrote for this meeting.
Okay, that will be a big help right there.
We good for the 23rd?
23rd, I'd say
25 o'clock, Mr. Long?
5 o'clock would be good.
Okay. I'm good with that.
All right. 23rd. Need a motion on that, Ms. Tadlock?
not that, we can go ahead and get that scheduled for the board. And, but I do need action on the supplemental appropriation.
All right. And we're going to do that 12325 at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Right. All right, good enough. I'll make some changes.
So do they want this last bit of money before they present or after they present? After.
There, we do have one invoice remaining, and we've held that payment.
Okay.
So, but majority of that cost has been expensed. And where we're running into some issues, we had enough money in there to cover those expenses, but now that we're starting to get into finalizing some of our other audits through Mary Earhart and RFC, those costs are coming in now, and we're getting close to get with overspending that particular line item.
Okay.
So instead of going into a negative on that particular line item, that's, I just wanted to explain that's why we're looking at the supplemental appropriation.
Yeah, that's fine. I move that we approve the supplemental appropriation for UHY.
Second.
All right, got a motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right.
All right, for 2025 projects that we are looking at, we are starting progress on the capital improvement plan. We have broadband, the regional project that is wrapping up, and we're also looking at BEAD opportunities. Courthouse roof repairs are soon will be underway. The contract has been signed on that. We're looking to evaluate other building and facility needs. Emergency regional radio system is underway. Comprehensive plan, 5-year review with the Planning Commission. Also, we have the opioid settlement monies that we'll be looking at. Further evaluate policies and procedures related to the county finance. We currently have the reassessment that is going on. the school septic construction, and all of the bid documents have been finalized with that. And that, just to remind you, that is the final use of the ARPA funding. So once we complete that, there is no remaining ARPA funds to be used. The abandoned and derelict vessel removal is underway. The convenience center passes, and as always, we'll be following General Assembly for any bills that will be coming up. Next item I have, Mr. Thomas is asking that the board consider increasing the exemption amount for the tax relief for the elderly and disabled. If the board wishes to do that, we would need to advertise that for a public hearing at the February 13th Board of Supervisors meeting.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board, or the board have any comments?
What do we do now?
Currently, it's set at $20,000 is the max, and it's based on the income, and on your income, it's different percentages as to what the tax relief is. What he would like to increase that to would be $28,000, going from 20 to 28,000. He felt like going to that wouldn't be a minimal impact on the county's revenue.
Is that household income or individual income?
It's for the individual, I believe, because it has any person or persons qualifying for such exemption shall be exempt in the amounts from taxation of real estate based on income as follows.
I wouldn't hold him to a number, but I spoke with him today, and he's thinking it would come to a cost to the county somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. Not holding him to that, but it's in that neighborhood. I think it's at least worth having the public hearing on.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, let's get some public input onto it. Is that okay with the board? You need a motion?
If I could get authorization to move forward in advertising.
Entertain a motion, gentlemen.
I'll make a motion to go with it.
All right, got a motion to have second?
Second.
All right, got a motion to second. Any other discussion on that?
One last question.
Yes.
How long has it been since this has been changed?
2006, I think, was the last time that it had been modified.
Quite a lot of inflation since then.
Quite a lot. All right, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right, go ahead, Mr. Tadlock.
Next item I have is the board had been asking about a decal or some sort of program for the convenience center sites. In your packet is a policy related to residential convenience center. It's a decal program, and this would help reduce the use of the county-owned solid waste facilities for non-residents and commercial use. This is a sticker that would be permanently displayed on the windshield of the vehicle. We would look at proof of residency, and initially what we would do is issue 2 decals. If any additional decals are needed, we would run the program through the county administrator's office initially to see how that would run. Behind that, we try to list some frequently asked questions to try and answer as many questions as we could. If the board wishes to and look at this further, we can look at finalizing some of the costs of actual tags and implementation, which would include even some signage that we may need to put at some of the convenience center sites.
All right, questions, comments from the board?
I'd like to see what the cost will be for this program. Let's get all this information together and we can make a decision on it. I think over time it will pay for itself. But we need to know the cost. Cost of the stickers and the signage,
Got too much trouble to get that together, Mr.
No,
Tadlock?
we'll start working on, we had done some preliminary work on that, so we'll still have some of those numbers, and we can get some updated figures and go from there.
All right, any other questions or comments from the board?
We had talked about short-time rental houses, what this would do to them. It seems rather simple to me. The majority, 99% of them, to my way of thinking, what I can understand, what I can read and find out about them, the people who own the rental houses, they either hire somebody to come clean the house or they do it themselves in between rentals. So whoever cleans that house has to do away with the trash. Something was said about if a cleaner was to come, and what would they do with the trash if they happen to live in another county? And that the people renting the houses would not be allowed to go to the dumpsters and putting trash in the dumpsters because they're not residents of the county and won't have stickers. But it seems simple to me that the owner can either have the cleaning person take care of the trash, or they can take care of the trash by carrying it off or hiring a trash company to come pick it up. I don't see where that's going to be a problem.
Any comments? Other comments, anything? Or any comments on Mr. Fisher's comment?
And one other thing I want us to look at too is on the 2 decals. Some people have more than 2 cars in their household. I think if you've got a resident with more than 2 cars, they should certainly be able to get them. But I'm wondering if people who have 1 automobile in their family and they automatically get 2 decals, is that going to allow for some black market sales of decals? Just something to think about. And we got to think about what's the alternative. That's the question.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Do you need any other action from the board?
If the board wishes to examine that a little bit further, we can start looking at cost and get that back to the board.
And I know you checked with some other local jurisdictions on what they were doing too, so we might have that information with us at the same time.
Cool.
See what they're doing.
All right. No other comments or questions? Mr. Tadlock, I think go ahead and proceed with the information.
All right. The last item I have, we had started the process of writing bid documents for the removal of the mobile classrooms at the Lotsburg trash site. As we got into that, we weren't sure what, or if the board had any specific plans related to the old school board building itself, and is there anything that we need to include in this bid document while we have contractors there? I didn't know if the board wanted to have further discussions. I know we've talked about it several times about properties and needing to get back to additional conversations about properties. Just didn't want to jump the gun by just doing the mobile classrooms and leaving something out, if it would be an opportunity to do something cheaper, or does the board just want to move forward in doing the bid documents for, or bid requests for the mobile classrooms?
Has that building, been deemed or declared where it cannot be repaired at all and used for anything?
I mean, we haven't gotten an official, like, engineer or architect or building official determination on that.
One of the biggest problems we have, and something I keep hearing about, are the buildings that the county owns that we don't do anything with. They're still standing. And it's an eyesore. Well, we need to make a decision whether we can do something with that building and benefit the county, or have it torn down, and let's focus on putting something in there, draw some businesses to that area. I think that would be a good area to clean it up and try to have like a small industrial park, lack of a better term, to bring some businesses in there. But we don't need all of these buildings standing that that are eyesores to the county. If we're trying to get other people in the county to clean their stuff up, we need to clean the county up. Building's no good, then let's get rid of it.
Didn't someone offer to buy that building, school board? Did Zion Baptist, didn't they?
There have been multiple inquiries, but nothing formal has been brought to the, to the county.
If we're talking about removing those smaller buildings, I don't think it would hurt to get a bid on those to have that done. But beyond that, I think I'd like to have a better idea of what we're going to do with the property, end result. And that might give us an answer as to whether or not we should go through with just removing those properties by themselves or waiting until we know what's going to happen to the property in the end.
The trailer's got to be moved anyhow, the mobile homes anyhow. So I'm good with going on and moving those or waiting.
I just
don't care.
don't know if it would be a lesser cost to the county if we were going to tear that building down, if you were to wrap all of those
Everything
things together.
Well, what's the pleasure of the board?
Let's
It's a good piece of property up there,
Yes,
good location. I think we need to make use of it. Exactly what we do. We
I think
need to
that
do is
building's
make
too
use
far
of it.
gone.
It's got mold into it. It's got a lot of asbestos. As that can be cleaned up and redone, I don't know. Or would it be cost effective to do?
Anyone had the opportunity of going inside the building.
Yeah, we've been in it.
Yep.
But somebody says, what, air conditioning, parts could be used.
Window units, window AC units, I don't know, Mr. Long.
Jimmy, was the roof leaking when you were in there?
Absolutely.
Well, that's,
Yes.
that cuts it down right there.
I mean,
pouring in there.
all over the building.
I think the fact that you're
Tom,
asking
put
the
it back
question
up.
about whether or not the building is repairable says a lot in itself about what we might do with the building.
Yeah. And I think that building
my
was
opinion.
built back in the 60s or 50s.
I don't know. I'd have to look that up.
50s, I think. I'm not positive.
I think we ought to look into what it would cost to, I'm pretty sure that building's not gonna be any good, but just, let's see what it costs, would cost to demo it.
I agree.
Frank, do you want to get the building official to go by it, give a report to us?
Absolutely,
On it?
that'd be fine.
All right, would you
Good idea.
send that building official over and give us a report on to it as soon as possible?
All right.
Anything else on that building? Anything else on any other properties?
Old
Well,
Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, that's why I brought it back up. Old Sheriff's Office, we need to evaluate that, what we're gonna do with that. That's been sitting there.
10 years.
Yep, well, are we gonna renovate it, tear it down, or what are we gonna do? We need to do something with these buildings. Good year to start.
Oh, yes.
When the last time the building inspector been in that building?
Hey, we were into it basically a year ago.
Chip and I went in there in June, I believe it was.
All right,
wasn't
y'all been in there after probably Jimmy and I have been in there. And Mr. Long, you were probably in at the same time we were. So y'all been in there after that. The building has possibilities. It's not really leaking, so.
Well, when you think about it, you have to remember, there's actually two buildings there, an old building and a new
Yes.
building. And certainly the old building is in much worse shape than the new one. But it is two separate, I mean, they're hooked together, but it's basically two separate buildings.
Well, the old building would be, that's gonna be almost impossible to renovate. because of the way it's constructed and everything. So you're probably better off if you'd probably be better off if you demolished that and then renovated the sheriff's office part of it.
And the new building's got some roof problems. It's been roof problems since they built it.
How many square feet would you say is the newer part of that building?
Oh, God, I don't know.
I'd like you have an idea.
Don't.
Good couple thousand, isn't it? 2,000, 2,500?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really cut up, so I don't know.
Yeah, but that doesn't change, that doesn't stop you from renovating it. Actually, you need to go in and tear the inner walls out and then redo it, because we need a lot of office space.
Yeah, no, I just meant from a square
Yeah.
footage standpoint, I don't know.
I don't know how long the building is, how
You
wide
can
it
get
is
it pretty,
right
you
now.
can walk it off and get it pretty easy.
Yeah, all you
Square it
need is
off.
outside measurement.
Yep.
But we need to look at that as soon as possible. Y'all want to go back through it for another look, or?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's
Alright.
go back through it.
I'd like to see if we can't get that done this upcoming week, possible.
Yeah, we can.
Electric's still
certainly-
on, isn't it?
Check,
Check-
yes,
make
yeah,
sure it's
it would
on,
have to be
if not,
because.
It's gonna need flashlights.
No, it would have to be because the power for the gate comes from that area too. So it would have to be.
All right, anything else, gentlemen? All right, Mr. Tadlock, you have anything else?
That's all I have.
How about that piece of property? We're gonna discuss that down at Falls Neck.
We'll discuss that in close.
All right. So all of that, next is committee reports. Anyone have any report they want to give?
No, I don't.
Only thing I have, I will say that the planning commission, they had a very good meeting the other night, and they did approve the request of Mr. Caudle on his application. It's coming up tonight. Jail board meeting went very well yesterday, elected new officers. A lot of information was given on the ins and outs of how that facility runs. I would certainly like for all y'all board members to try to attend one with me.
I'd like to go to them.
And we can even go up there and have a sit-down meeting, and you'll learn a lot. There's a lot going on in there, and there's a lot can happen in there. Very interesting. All right. Next would be Board of Supervisors items. Approval of check register. Hope everyone's had a chance to look at it. And everything's okay. I'd like to have a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right, got a motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, all those against? All right. Next is board comments. We'll start with Mr. Fisher.
I don't have anything at this time.
Do you have anything? Mr. Brand?
We were talking about county property, and I know this has been ongoing. Gregory, the issue we got with the county property and the property lines, have you gotten anywhere with that, on the right of way of that? And
Which property, I'm sorry, which,
this is the joint property, Northumberland County, Langston, Richmond County, and the other two landowners. The dispute over the right of way. Have you gotten anywhere with that?
I have not gotten anywhere with that. The last we had discussed was trying to obtain a copy of the survey that was allegedly produced by one of the adjoining property owners. That has not been forthcoming. So if the county wishes to clearly identify its easement and where that is, I would recommend that the county procure its own survey. of the easement to identify where it is if you want to know for certain. We did a title review, and it is less than clear as to where it is. And so it's mainly a dispute between those property owners and sort of the fallout from that, and where third parties have been accessing the county property. But I don't have anything fair at this point.
If the board choose to have a survey done, the cost share would be between the three counties?
Potentially. I mean, if you wanted to share it, I mean, the county could
I mean,
undertake it.
it's to their best interest as well. I mean,
Certainly.
Richmond County and Lancaster.
Certainly.
My concern with that is, between the other two individuals, I don't think anything's going to get resolved. And my concern is, right now, people are accessing property back there off of private land. So the individual land that they're going across now to get in there, if they choose to say, you're not going across my property any longer, or they sell it to someone else, we don't have any right-of-way identified to get into county property because it's being disputed.
Well, it's being disputed by those property owners. It's
Right.
not being disputed by the county. I mean, I think
No, yes,
the
right.
county can access the property based upon, the historic use, and they
Not if
can't
the
be
road is
demolished.
blocked, and the road is blocked.
That's my understanding.
And that's my concern. And I guess, I don't want the county to pay for anybody's dispute. I'm trying to look at for the best interest of the county, because I said, if a private individual that owns the other land says, you're not gonna use this anymore, or they sell it, and the person buying it says, you're not gonna use it, then we're gonna have to fight and argue on how to get in there with an individual to unblock a road. I mean, I like to see this thing get resolved. It's going on long enough. This has been going on for 3 years.
What would you suggest, Gregory?
Well, the county's easement cannot be legally denied it. So the county has a legal right to that easement, it has a legal right to access its property through that easement. So there are different ways you could address that. You could remove the obstruction, which I think you have the authority to do. You could seek an injunction in court to prevent the obstruction or the further obstruction or the continued obstruction. I don't know if that's necessary because you have the authority over the easement, county's easement. So yes, you could send a staff member out there and remove the obstruction.
Question, if the county has the right to move the obstruction, does the county have the right to say that county personnel and their designees can use that right away?
The county, yes, essentially. But again, as we've discussed before, the county owns that property jointly with the other localities. So I would suggest you would want to confer with them.
Same thing, do all three, but designees being the hunters, so forth. You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, that was my second part of this, is have you heard anything back from Richmond County or Lancaster County in regards to the hunting rights? Because we've had some folks that reached out to Richmond County and they know nothing about the request. Hunting.
As far as for them to allow to be hunting that property, now as far as when the individuals come to us, we have just allowed the Northumberland citizens Now, of course, that is.
Well, this is the same individuals that's been hunting it all along. I mean, they've questioned, folks from Richmond County in regards to them knowing, or have they been asked about the permission to hunt that property? Of course, we don't know anything about it.
Since it's owned by 3 counties, kind of hard to give permission, I mean, it's kind of hard for one county to give permission to hunt it or go on it without the okay by the other 2 counties. I think that's what you're
Well,
trying to get at.
you told us you reached out to the county administrator in Richmond County and to Lancaster County.
I did reach out to both of
Well,
those.
when they were asked about it, they didn't know anything about the email.
Okay, well, I'll
And
certainly
that's-
follow up with them.
I didn't explain that well enough. I'm sorry about that.
No,
But-
I'll certainly follow up with them, but yeah, I did
because
reach out to them.
That's something else that needs to be taken care of, because I think I've heard more about that issue right there than I've had anything else since I've been on this board. That land not being open to the hunters.
Heard a lot about it.
I've heard a lot about it.
Heard a
And
lot about it.
we just need to get it resolved, and let's move forward with this thing. It's been going on long enough. I mean, I don't know. I think they enjoy making each other miserable, but I just want the county protected.
And I guess also if the other 2 counties don't want to keep holding on to it, they want to sell their interest out, maybe we would need to consider that.
Don't say sell, say give.
That would be the
First
ideal.
option.
That would
First
be
option.
the ideal way to go.
First option.
Guess we need to check on that also.
All right. In Hampton Hall, we approved to have that road opened up and that little bit of bush hogging done and open that up. That hadn't been done yet. When will that be done?
I will check with Mr. McKenzie
Okay.
on that.
And, I believe back in December, Mr. Basie, you had someone graduate from college. Congratulations. And that's all I got.
Congratulations. All right, Mr. Long?
Yes, how we doing between the school board and EBB thing? Have we settled anything? That's been going on a long time.
I know Mr. Gregory has been waiting for some information from the school board attorney. I think that may still be the case.
Follow up with them again.
Okay. Hiring, ordinance for hiring people for Northumberland. Do we have that in place or what?
Yeah, are you referring to the background checks
Yeah,
for
background checks and all that.
county offices for the sheriff's office to be able to conduct those? I don't believe that language was sufficient that was submitted to the FBI, so that is something that we have to get back with the county attorney and the sheriff and some other individuals on that matter and see what can be reworked with that.
So we could be hiring somebody that's not good for the county. You know, that happened in Northumberland, the school board office.
Well,
They hired a person, and I told them, the person was in the paper, Richmond Times, they was fired because of something he had done in the Richmond area. But they didn't do a background check on him. That happened about 20 years ago right here in this county.
we are still conducting background checks. It's through the Virginia State Police and the sex offender check on those. So that's another avenue that we can go through to do background checks. So we are doing those currently.
Any time frame on getting something done, started, or whatever?
I don't know. The last one took some time for the FBI to get back to us, to the sheriff's office. And so now it's a matter of, I don't think it was clear as far as how that language needed to be written. So that's something that we're going to have to work with Mr. Gregory on. And I was talking to the sheriff earlier about this, so we'll keep the board updated.
All right.
So,
You know, we had someone in place check about the tires, the old tires in the county, old automobiles. Where are we on that? There's a lot of tires up there in Cali, or down the hill somewhere.
yeah, that falls with the building official. And of course, we have a new building official, and I can get with him on any location that you have.
Down by Paul Jones Oil Companies, turn left, get there, place down there. But it's a lot of tires down in there too.
All right.
Mr. Long, you have anything else?
That's it.
Mr. Williams?
I don't have anything at this time.
All right. I don't have anything right now. All right, next item would be public comments. Unless y'all want to take a break.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Well, could we get public comments over, then we're doing the public hearings?
While we're waiting on that, we have a issue down on Valley Drive and Fruit Plant, right in the bottom. It seems like no sooner the vehicles start coming down the hill and all the way up until they get to the other side, everybody's throwing trash, tires, TV. You can go down there and get a whole living room seat.
Oh, yeah, you can get a whole living room seat, you're right.
And we need to, see if we can't partner up with someone to see if we can't deter some of that. I know in the past, people cleaned it up, but it don't last any time. It had a sofa and a recliner and thrown out there not long ago. It's awful that people gotta drive down through there and just throw the trash out.
Don't really know what time of day or night they're putting it out, that's the thing.
And you got car tires. You might even get lucky and get a washer and dryer down there sometime. Sad.
All right, anything else, Mr. Brown?
No.
All right. Public comment period, we limit the time to speak for anyone to 4 minutes. I don't have anyone on a public comment period sheet signed up. Would anyone like to speak? Anyone like to speak on any issue here going on in the county? All right, we have anybody in the virtual world? Anyone in the virtual world would like to speak in our public comment period time? Anyone in the virtual world would like to speak in our public comment period? We can give her a minute. Anyone in the virtual world like to speak in the public comment period?
That was in the EDC monthly update.
Yeah.
That should be posted, let's see.
Should be posted, isn't it? It would be,
Yes, it should be under the EDC. She may be referring to the upcoming workshop on January 29th at the Tavern Meeting Room. The workshop is tailored on how to develop internship programs. The attached brochure is also posted on the EDC county page. And in that online monthly update, the flyer is attached to that,
Okay.
if that's what she's...
That's what she's referring to? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Anyone else in the virtual world like to comment on any issue tonight? All right. I'll close the public comment period. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a 10-minute recess before we start our public hearings.
This guy down the road.
Call this meeting back to order. We're going to start to have our public hearings tonight. Our first item on the agenda is a request by James Robert Caudle. Mr. Marston, would you be so kind, sir?
Yes, sir. We have a request by James Robert Caudle, Jr., owner, for a conditional use permit to allow a small retail business furniture repair shop on property zoned A1 agriculture. Property is shown as tax map parcel 9A-1-34 and is located at 2829 Northumberland Highway.
Mr. Caudle, would you like to come on up and kind of tell us what you have on your mind or your plans up there?
Just repair furniture and a retail shop, some things, and that's about it.
Okay. Yeah,
Just fix a little furniture and try to,
you've been doing that right many years, haven't you?
46.
46.
46, long time.
Yeah, and my father did it before me, so yeah, we've been doing quite a while.
All right, yeah.
Yeah,
Your place is right across from Signet's up at Lotchburg.
yes, sir.
Okay. Any board members have any questions? Mr. Caudle, before I open the public hearing? Caudle? All right, thank you, sir. We'll go open the public hearing now.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing here. I don't have anyone on the sign-up sheet that would like to speak. Would anyone like to speak on this public hearing tonight? Anyone like to speak on the public hearing? All right, would anyone in the virtual world like to speak on this public hearing? Anyone in the virtual world like to speak on this public hearing? All right. I'll close the public hearing. The matter is before the board. Before we make a decision, Mr. Marston, would you read the conditions?
Yes, sir. The suggested conditions, if approved, that all required permits and/or licenses shall be obtained from all appropriate regulatory agencies, including but not limited to the Virginia Department of Transportation. Any proposed signage shall comply with the Northumberland County zoning ordinance. Any proposed lighting shall be non-reflective and directed downward to prevent any glare on Route 360 and adjoining properties. There shall be at least one parking space provided for every 200 square feet of retail space and one parking space provided for each employee. And non-compliance of any of these conditions shall result in this permit to come back before the Board of Supervisors for possible revocation.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Caudle, you okay with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Gentlemen, I'd like to make a motion here. This motion is made in due consideration of the public health and safety, the general welfare of the community, public necessity, convenience, and in the exercise of good zoning practices and in the pursuant to the body's statutory authority. I'd like to make a motion that we grant Mr. Caldwell's request with the conditions. All right, I got a motion and a second. Do I have any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, all those against? All right, Mr. Caldwell, your motion passes, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. The next item we have is to consider amending the Northumberland County Code. Mr. Tadlock?
Yes, sir. The proposed amendment would permit the hunting of deer with a rifle of a caliber larger than a .23 from an elevated platform at least 8 feet above the ground level in Northumberland County, as permitted by the Code of Virginia 29.1528. The amendment would also state that rifles would not be allowed for turkey hunting. Specifically, we previously held a public hearing on this matter. The board had modified the language which required another public hearing, which is this public hearing tonight. And specifically, the language being changed is Section B up there, deer general firearms season, rifles and pistols 23 caliber or larger with a maximum magazine capacity of 5 rounds for rifles and 6 rounds capacity for pistols may be used to hunt deer during the firearms deer season, provided the hunter is in an elevated stand at least 8 feet above ground level. The rifle may be loaded only when it is on the elevated stand, except such weapon may be discharged on the ground when necessary to dispatch deer wounded from the elevated platform. And then C, no rifles for turkey hunting.
All right, all right. Any board members have any questions or comments before we open the public hearing? All right. I'll open the public hearing. First person I have on the sign-up sheet is Matthew Sprague.
Hello, how are y'all doing today?
All right, how about you?
I'm doing good. A little nervous. It's been a while since I've spoken in front of a group of people, so please work with me a little bit. I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and simple. I'm an advocate for rifle hunting in Northumberland County. I think it is a great way to even the playing field for the large group of hunters that are not a part of a hunting club in the county. If you are not a part of a hunting club in the county, your ability to hunt or the options to hunt in the county are reduced greatly. One of the big things that I've heard people have an issue with when it comes to rifle hunting is safety. A large majority of people that I've talked to try to make the argument that hunting with a rifle in this area, as flat as it is not a safe option. I'd like to read something off my phone from the Southeastern Association of Fish and Wildlife Agencies. This was published in March 1st of 1978, and it was an analysis of hunting accidents in Virginia. It compiled of 3 different departments, including the Department of Game and Inland Fisheries, the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife Science, and the Department of Forestry. The study is old, based from 1961 to 1977, but it was the only analysis or study that I could find that had any sort of information pertaining to this subject. Using hunting accident report forms filled out by Virginia game wardens from July 1961 to June 1977, we analyzed the conditions related to 972 hunting casualties. Virginia statistics compared with data for the United States for 1970. All data were reported on National Rifle Association Uniform Hunter Casualty Report forms. Approximately half the accidents in Virginia were caused by judgment errors. About 20% involved lack of skill. 15% occurred when safety rules and state laws were violated. Approximately 3% were due to defective firearms. National accident statistics were roughly equivalent to Virginia statistics. In Virginia, 47% of the accidents occurred while hunters sought out big game, primarily white-tailed deer. However, Virginia hunters spent 28% of their time big game hunting.
The preponderance of accidents involved people under 25 years of age, having less than 5 years experience. Although 8% of hunters are women, this sex accounted for less than 2% of accidents. Approximately 10% of people involved in hunting accidents in Virginia were not licensed. Only 1% of the shooters who caused accidents admitted to the game warden that they were intoxicated or on drugs. However, we expect that this is an understatement due to reporting bias. Accident rates higher through the middle of the day than during early morning and evening at night. For 410 accidents, 39% occurred in dense cover, 43% occurred in moderate cover, 19% occurred in open fields. Over 75% of the casualties due to poor judgment occurred at distances from 11 to 100 yards. About 70% of accidents involved shotguns, and only 24% involved rifles. Graduates of the hunter education course caused significantly fewer accidents with shotguns than did untrained hunters. Under dim light conditions, 2.2% of 89 victims were wearing bright orange color and the required clothes. Under same light conditions, 11.5%. There's a little bit more information there, but I pretty much said the biggest factors, which are 50% occur due to lack of judgment, 39% in dense cover, 43% in moderate cover, 19% in open field. 70% involve a shotgun, 24% involve a rifle. It sounds to me like still hunting on a stand at the edge of an open field with a rifle is one of the safest ways to hunt. I just ask that y'all take these into consideration when coming up or making this decision. The ground acting as a backdrop more than suffices. I have hunted here with dogs, and I've hunted in Buckingham County, which shares a similar terrain, with a rifle. Rifle hunting in a stand will always be safer, in my opinion. You walk up in a stand, you're sitting there for 30 minutes, 4 hours, you don't know. But what are you doing during that time? You're evaluating the surroundings. You're aware of what's around you. And a lot of times when it comes to other versions of hunting, running dogs, something like that, you're running out to get to where the dogs are. There's a lot of people moving. There's a lot of animal moving. There's a lot of room for error or lack of judgment that there's not when it comes to rifle hunting. So I appreciate y'all's time, and I don't have anything else. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Next person on the sheet is Kristen Adams.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm in support of this amendment. It will result in more deer being harvested and fewer deer being wounded. When you shoot with a shotgun, it's a much different experience, as you probably know. When I hunt up in the mountains with a scope, I can zero in on a deer at 100 yards better than I can at 40 yards with buckshot. And so there's going to be fewer people chasing wounded deer. There's going to be more deer harvested, fewer on the road. So I'm in support of this. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, next person is Thomas D. Kelly.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the fact that this is under consideration. I want to go on record as saying that I fully approve of this ordinance as proposed, and I agree with all comments made just before me. And I think this is a great move because it will bring Northumberland County into alignment with its surrounding neighboring counties that have already adopted regulations very similar to this one under proposal. So I fully endorse it, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, I don't have anyone else on the sign-up sheet. Would anyone else like to speak? Come on up, please, ma'am.
Hi, Pam Hagee in Reedville. I'm not on board with the amendments. I'd like to see a little bit more in there. My reason is the details of these high-powered weapons that are used, the bullets can travel 1.7 miles. The effective range is typically 800 to 1,000 yards. The bullet can go through the target or ricochet off a hard substance. So my main concern is the kids who are learning how to hunt. And I don't know, I wasn't at the last meeting. Are we going to let kids be up in the stands with these weapons, learning how to use them? Can we put an age on who's going to be up there with them?
Mr. Gregory?
And
The Game Commission.
I'll say one more thing about that.
Yeah, that'd be up to them. They regulate
Is
the hunting laws.
I feel that, I've read articles like from Richmond County, and the parents are saying it's much lighter gun for my kid to be able to climb up on the stand and use it and learn how to use it. It's not a big shotgun or whatever. For me, this means putting a high-powered weapon into the hands of a less skilled person. And we need to think about that. So, it seems as though we have a lot of hunters, and it's, I understand the way it was just explained, but I'd like to see it in the right hands and people who really know how to use this weapon, because, yeah, that bullet goes 1.7 miles. So think about that.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Anyone else like to speak? Anyone else like to speak? All right. Would anyone in the virtual world like to speak on the ordinance of hunting with rifles? Anyone in the virtual world like to speak on the ordinance of hunting with rifles? All right. Since I have no one who wants to speak, I'm going to close the public hearing, and the matter is before the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask Mr. Tadlock, would you happen to have the current ordinance on hunting with high-powered rifles in Northumberland County?
I can pull that up real quick. A portion of that, I think, is listed up there on Section A of that language as well, which is...
March 1 to August 31st.
The article permits the hunting of groundhogs with a rifle larger than 22 rimfire between March 1st and August 31st, and the hunting of coyotes with a rifle of a caliber larger than 22 rimfire, except during the general firearm season.
What I was getting at is we already have high-powered hunting in Northumberland County with a large caliber weapon. And you don't have to be up in a tree, and you don't have to be 8 feet off the ground. To my knowledge, we've had no problems. I stand corrected if anybody in the public knows of any problems we've had. I think it's been in effect for some 12 to 14 years. With that in mind, I just want to make that known.
And just to add to that, it's not hunting, but you can target practice off the ground
Oh, yeah.
also with those same caliber rifles.
You can legally target practice with a
Legally.
high-powered rifle,
Yeah.
yes. So this is what I'm saying, is this is not something new to Northumberland County.
Let's not forget, these kids that are wanting to learn to hunt, their parents are not just sending them out there with a gun in their hands. I know for a fact that a lot of these kids are not allowed to tote a gun until they actually hunt a few years with their father or their mother or whoever they're hunting with. when they are allowed to hunt with a gun, a lot of times I've seen kids out there with toy guns, and they're learning the proper way to hold a gun and use that gun, even if it's a toy, before they're allowed to use a real gun. And again, once they are allowed to use a real gun, even hunting with dogs, I know a lot of the hunters don't allow their kids to put a shell in that gun until they're in a location or a fixed place waiting for a deer. So a lot of the hunters take a lot of time with these kids. They just don't put a gun in their hand. Made the point of target shooting with a gun. Well, that's when they're taking the time and hopefully training these young ones to handle that firearm and to get over some of the excitement of shooting it before actually they get it on the stand.
And they are, of course, required by statute to have successfully completed a hunter safety course before they're even allowed to.
At the age of 12 is when they have to have a hunter hunting license, correct?
Before they can purchase their hunting license, right?
Right, but they have to have that hunter safety
Successfully
course.
played.
At 12.
At 12 years old. You have to have it before you can get a hunting license.
You have to have had the course.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other comments, gentlemen?
In other counties, do they have an age limit? You said by law 12, but how about other counties?
That's state, that's not any specific county.
State code.
Oh, I understand that, but I was saying, most counties farther than that age, or they're going higher, or what? No.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Tadlock, Mr. Long, there's a specific, the reason that the county is authorized to authorize or limit the use of rifles for hunting in the county is that there's a specific state law that authorizes localities to exercise that authority. There is not a statute that authorizes the county to put an age limit upon the use of the rifles or an age limit on hunting. The decision or the authority to regulate hunting when it comes to the age of the individual is under state law. So that's up to the state to do and up to Department of Wildlife Resources, but it's in the state statute, I believe, and subject to state licensing rules and procedures. So that's not, the county doesn't have, in my view, the county doesn't have the authority to impose an age restriction upon the use of a rifle in hunting, in addition to what authority it already has.
All right.
But in most cases, these kids take a course.
Yes, it is. In order for a juvenile to receive a hunting license, they have to take a course.
That's mandatory.
That's correct.
All right, any other comments, questions? All right, board ready to make a decision? If you are, I'll entertain a motion.
We don't need this, do we? I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead with the resolution as it's written. I guess as it's been amended, that we allow hunting with high-powered rifles in Northumberland County for deer hunting, as the resolution reads. No, he said not.
That's just rezoning.
All right. All right,
I'll second it.
we got a motion and a second. Do you have any other discussion? No other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion passes. Tadlock, you have anything else? I have no more public comments, public hearings tonight.
Just have several closed meeting items that we
All right.
need to discuss.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into a closed meeting. You're welcome to stay after we come out, but I will entertain a motion to go into closed meeting. And thank you all for coming. Come on up if you want.
What do we have after you come and close?
Nothing? Oh, help yourself.
So you got, when it comes to rifle,
You want the motion or wait? Wait a few minutes.
Thank you for coming.
Senator,
And thank you for finding the information out on a certain lady.
anything over 22 caliber.
Oh, I got to look in.
Wow, he just said wow. Thank you.
Oh, you may not understand.
Oh, I didn't.
Drink it.
Thank Mr. Long.
I'm not picking on you.
Well, caliper, let's see if we can.
All right, let's go ahead and get this thing going.
All right, I need a motion that the Northumberland Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Freedom of Information Act, Section 2.2, 3711A1 for the discussion consideration of personnel matters, Section 2.2, 3711A3 for the discussion or consideration of the potential acquisition of real property for a public purpose, or the potential disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the board's bargaining position or negotiating strategy, Section 2.2, 3711A8 for consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel. Invited to attend the closed meeting as necessary are the county administrator, county attorney, and assistant county administrator. So they are deemed necessary and their presence will reasonably aid the board in its consideration of the topics to be discussed pursuant to Virginia FOIA Section 2.2, 3712F.
Holy thought. Good luck.
Can he ask a question to the board?
Thank you. My name's Mark Downing. I was wondering how I can make an amendment to one of the ordinance, since the firearm ordinance just got passed for rifle hunting. I'm an avid predator hunter. I hunt foxes and coyotes. We hunt primarily, well, all the time at nighttime. And the ordinance states 22 caliber rimfire during general firearm season. Will that be able to be included now that you can hunt with larger than that during general firearm season now? Because it's unethical for me to shoot at a coyote with a 22 rimfire because all it would do is wound the animal.
What would be the change? I'm not sure what the change would be.
So it states in the ordinance that during general firearm season for coyote hunting, it has to be a 22 rimfire.
Nothing larger.
Right.
Okay.
But now general firearm season is including calibers larger than that. So I was wondering if it could get, if it was going to be able to.
It has to be larger than 22
Correct.
Yeah, you can use a high-powered rifle now.
Except for general firearm season, which is the main season for, well, one of the main 2 months for predator hunting. I get calls weekly from, sheep and chickens and stuff like that. We hunt all winter long, so I'm obviously farming all summer and stuff like that. I don't do much hunting then, but it's very unethical to shoot at a coyote with a 22 rimfire.
You want to do this at nighttime?
Yeah, that's all we do is nighttime. Nobody else is in the woods but us.
You don't even know they're there.
Yeah.
I mean, the landowner knows they're there, but.
Right.
They're very clean.
Have you approached the
very quiet.
gaming commission about this?
It's legal pretty much.
No, I know what you're doing.
Right,
It's legal,
right.
but about a change like you're talking about.
Well, it's just a county ordinance, because like everywhere else except for, I believe, Lancaster County, it's open. It's just the stating of coyotes.
Yeah, you could say in part B, if you said deer and nuisance species, general firearms season or something like that.
Right.
Those are nuisance species.
Right. And I mean, I understand completely because people are in the woods during the day, and I understand why it was written for, hunting coyotes because, you don't want to be out there shooting rifles, in the woods at coyotes on the ground while people are dog hunting. But I mean, I'm out at 4 o'clock in the morning, nobody knows I'm there, and I mean, the equipment we use, I mean, I can see miles, I can see everything. It's just, like I say, it kind of restricts me from helping the community.
In line 3, if the board so chose, they could, you could, in order to address it, tell me if this would address your concern. You could insert a couple of words, so it would read, may be used, I'm sorry, I'm not pointing at y'all, I'm trying to point at the screen. May be used to hunt deer and nuisance game species during the firearms deer season.
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah.
that should accomplish your goal.
Right. It just kind of, those 2 months of deer season kind of puts a hindrance on, I'll have a lot of local people call and, having issues, pets being attacked and mauled or killed, and I'd like to be able to do my job properly.
Something you could work on, Mr. Gregory, and bring it back to us next month?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
That's okay.
Yeah, because now I'm fine. The deer season, is out.
Have another public hearing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd just be another ordinance
Yeah,
amendment.
just another ordinance change.
Yeah.
So if that's what the board wants to do, we'll get Mr. Gregory to go ahead and put the verbiage out there. I know you just did. That was quick and easy.
Is that something that you all want to advertise for the February meeting, or you want brought back to the board for further discussion?
Let's bring it back to us and we'll get it.
Make sure the language is right.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, for coyotes, that, that I'm allowed
So
to do
in
something.
my understanding with that ordinance, the current ordinance, the only stipulation we have for high-powered rifles is during general firearm season. So if we allow to hunt deer with general firearm season, that code, to me, the way I read the ordinance, that should supersede the code that you have there now, your ordinance now. So you're taking out the fact that we can't use them during general firearm season. Now we can use them during general firearm season. It doesn't appear to me that you would have to add 4 coyotes for this, for that. On y'all's side, I don't know what it takes. Is it easier to amend or do away with?
You could just strike, in
Yeah.
subsection A, you could just strike that last clause that says except during general
Yes.
firearm season.
Yeah,
But you would also have, because that only addresses groundhogs.
that's right. Yeah.
Well, groundhogs are March 1st to August 31st.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
And
Coyotes.
coyotes, except general firearm season. That's
Right.
where it comes into play.
Doesn't, you would have to insert foxes if you
Yeah.
wanted.
Right,
Because, yeah,
predatory animals, yeah.
Because nuisance animals, coyotes and groundhogs it's a year-round practice, you can, at any time. But we only have a stipulation, after those dates or, during general firearms as to when they can't use, a high-powered rifle. So,
Just get the wording,
yeah.
square it away and bring it back to us next month and we can go from there. Okay. I think that's the best way to do it. Make sure we got the wording right before we advertise it to make a change.
Okay, if y'all gentlemen?
Thank you, sir. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right. I need a motion. Go into closed meeting. All right, need a
Second.
second. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank y'all, gentlemen. We are now in closed meeting.
Northumberland Board of Supervisors returned to public meeting and certified by roll call vote that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting.
All right. Can I have a motion?
Got a motion?
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call vote. Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Mr. Brand?
Aye.
Mr. Fisher?
Aye.
Mr. Haney, aye. All right, we're now back in open session. All right. We need a motion to increase the lady's salary to $46,076.41.
Yes, sir. That is Karen Kalinsky for obtaining her EMT paramedic certification.
Motion made.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against. Motion passes. All right, we also need a motion to allow hunting on, what's that section of property? Lot number?
It's located on Balls Neck Road. It's property, it's county property, listed as tax map 47-1-86, lot 86.
All right, and that would be to allow anyone to hunt on that property with
written permission from the county administrator's office.
Yep. All right.
And that would be added to the list of places that we allow
Add
hunting.
that to the list.
What's that number again, 47?
47-1-86.
Lisa, you gonna make the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right. Anything else?
That's all I have.
No, we need a motion to carry over till 1/23/25 at 5 p.m.
Motion to carry over till January 23rd at 5 p.m.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you all for coming.
Look at that, Mr. Long.